Welcome everyone to another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your hardcore host, Rickhead, and I'm joined by the hardcore crew. First, from Lance Moss TV, he's the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, what's going on, buddy?
Not too much. Just trying to stay cool in this damn 101 heat index bullshit.
Geez, well, sorry to be you. Joe, and of course we have Joe from the Skeldon Realms. Joe, what's up?
Nothing much. At least the weather here isn't too bad. It gets hot, but it's kind of cool. I just wish the wrestling news was a little bit more hotter.
Yeah, no kidding. It's about as cool as my living room with my AC on. You know. Well, guys, you know what? Let's get right into it. Wes Lee lost the NXT North American Championship to Dominik Mysterio at last night's NXT. Wes Lee was slated to defend his title against Mustafa Ali on the upcoming Great American Bash, but those plans have obviously changed. Now, it's not clear. There were rumors about who actually made this change. Some are saying that it was just Shawn Michaels who made the call, or if it came from the higher ups, such as Triple H, Vince McMahon, what have you. Joe, let me ask you first off, what's your thoughts about that, quick change?
Well, first of all, I'm surprised the dude even can see straight. Oh, Shawn Michaels is like, can't fucking see the few feet in front of him. But you know what? On the other hand, I'm going to say this. This is a good way to give Dominik Mysterio a singles title on a different brand that he can build himself up even more. Because granted, he's had some success in the main roster, especially with his dad. But now as singles by himself, this kind of stands him out of the retribution or whatever, the underworld or whatever the fuck.
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day. Tells you how much shit I give a damn about WWE. But it does give him a title for him to work on and pretty much build his character a little bit in a different brand that will help him on the main brand. We see this similar thing happen in AEW where a worker will go from the main AEW roster to appear in Ring of Honor, win that belt, helps him a bit, and he could travel back and forth saying, hey, guess what? I got this title. So kudos to Dominik for catching his first singles title. Hopefully it does help him because he's still got a long way to go. You know what? And before you go off, Rick, what does this say about the other Judgment members? Rhea has her belt, which is great for her. But now Dominik has one. What does that say about Damian Priest and Finn Balor?
Well, Damian Priest
does have money in the bank.
Yeah, exactly. But Finn Balor right now, yeah, he's the only guy that doesn't have like any kind of championship in his future or carrying one, so to speak. Lance, what's your thoughts? Do you think Dominik Mysterio should go down to NXT? Do you still think he's gonna just be popping up with Judgment Day on the main roster?
He needs to spend a little bit of time, and I think this might be a good way to give him a little bit of time in NXT. Because let's face it, yeah, he's been on the main roster for a few years now, but he's still green as goose shit. Now, and he learned how to wrestle in the WWE. Now, but here's the thing. Finn actually, I think, has a chance for the Raw belt at SummerSlam.
And that's interesting. Joe, what's your thoughts on that one, that possibility?
Well, as we've seen with WWE, just because you have the money in bank doesn't really mean you can cash in on it and successfully win. They kind of play that role nowadays. So last minute changes, anything can happen. Honestly, I think currently right now, it's so hard to tell if he's going to win the title. And let's face it, the Raw title now belongs to Seth freaking Rollins. You know, the Jesus Christ of fucking WWE. You know, I don't see him losing the belt anytime soon. especially to someone, even though he's a good worker like Damian Priest, but I just don't see it happening at this time. I think it's going to be another failed cash in, and WWE has this kind of idea of doing this. They'll get your hopes up, a title change, and we've seen it prior, where people win Money in the Bank. They'll come in, bam, they win a belt out of the blue. Rollins is a great example of that. But you kind of sit back and you say, oh, that's expected. He's going to win. Boom. Now it's kind of like, okay, he comes in, he bang, 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 and all of a sudden he doesn't win it, but loses the case. He can lose he can lose by disqualification, or should I say the champion he's fighting against can lose by disqualification by count out, and his briefcase becomes invalid now. So because you cashed in, it's not the briefcase's fault. You didn't win, so. They're doing that a lot of what they're trying to do. Over on the YouTube chat room, Reverend Jake Slayer says, "Dirt Dom needs a Dirty Sanchez."
Yeah, I think the Dirty Sanchez, wouldn't that be a Rhea Ripley, Joe?
Yeah, I think so.
That would explain the mustache.
Exactly. He needs a more tougher look than the boyish look that he has now. He's got the Eddie Guerrero mullet. He's got the kind of the little bit of the sneer. I think he more resembles Eddie than Ray at this point, but he needs that like stash, or he needs a goatee to kind of fit in as an adult.
Either that, or they need to give him a distinctly Dom mask.
No.
I think
to hide his fucking baby face.
Well, in this case right now, it's not in tradition, in Mexican lucha libre tradition. He should have came out with a mask in the get-go.
Exactly.
And he would have had transformed the colors like Ray does. Yeah. Maybe he would have changed it into Judgment Day colors.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Now. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Rick.
No, I agree with everything that you're saying. Is that they should have given him a mask, his own type of mask, not a Rey Mysterio mask, and then have that merchandise. And then when he wanted to change colors, he could like the Judgment Day do Judgment Day colors, and when he eventually turns
purple and black.
Yeah, exactly.
And right now, he just needs that goatee or a good mustache that can make him appear older. Because right now, the way the story looks is that he is, he's like the little boy that's infatuated with the goth girl, with the evil city woman. And that's the whole Rhea Ripley scenario. So,
well, for the record, I'm infatuated with that goth girl.
Oh, same here. But, he needs
to
get...
a little tall for what I like, but damn.
Yeah. But he needs that face. He needs that change of he definitely needs to grow some sort of facial hair. Reverend Jake Slayer said he should get a face full of prison gang tattoos. No, but he needs to do it. He could do the Hakishi where he painted like different symbols on his face, but no, he needs that he needs that facial hair to make him stand it out.
All right, let's move along. AEW just seems to be amping up more pay-per-views. As we all know, next month, All In will appear on August 27th in Wembley Stadium in London. And then 1 week later, they're going to have their All Out pay-per-view, which will be in Chicago, Illinois. So a recent interview, Tony Khan talked about why they're having more pay-per-views. And he said, I do think that expanding your pay-per-views calendars has often been something that is seen as revenue positive and overall positive for companies. And Warner Brothers Discovery also was agreeing on having those shows because there's more money for them as well. Joe, we've talked before about frustrations when we was watching WWE, how they had so many pay-per-views just back to back to back to back to back, and then they finally got smart, they put on the network. But they even added even more pay-per-views. Now, it looks like AEW is starting to follow that same suit. Not as many, but there's still... It's a downward spiral, Joe.
Yes, it is. And this is again, this is why you and certain things you don't listen to your audience. You know, for me, why should I watch Monday Night Raw or SmackDown week after week when I could see basically the whole package on a pay-per-view? And vice versa. Why should I watch the pay-per-view if I'm going to see the matches replay on Raw or SmackDown? It used to mean something when you used to watch Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Survivor Series. Four great pay per views in between. You had time to build up your stories. You get everything together, and boom. And over in Jim Crockett Promotions, you had the Great American Bash, you had Starcade. Later on, they would add the War Games and Halloween Havoc. And I never considered the Bunkhouse Rumble or whatever they call Stampede their Royal Rumble, but it was something a match just thrown in. But again, you had time to build up your characters. You build up your storyline. Now it's like month after month. Okay, you can just have so much time for wrestling. And especially you got 2 hours here, you got 2 hours there, you got 3 hours here. You're bored to tears, and then you're expected to sit, what, 4 or 5 hours or 8 hours in a fucking pay-per-view that you already know what's going to happen because you've seen it a fucking bunch of shows before that. It just spoils the product. It just makes you just turn away from wrestling. Back in the 80s, you kind of anticipated that WrestleMania, because from Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, you still had that gap. You had a 2 month gap that once it happens, you're going to hit. And it's, guess what? Your stories are building up. It today is everything so rush. And with so much wrestling on television, a pay-per-view really doesn't mean as much. And Rick, let's look at the other side of this. The wallet is going to be damaged by this. You're talking about, let's say hypothetically, $50 every month to pay for something that you can wait to see the results on either at the end of the pay-per-view with some, results show website, or wait till Thursday night to see the results. And, oh yeah, he won. We'll show you a clip of this. Okay, great. Again, I think it's a bad decision. Don't do it. Stay with what little pay-per-views you have. Build it up with that, and you're showing off the display here. Double or Nothing, Forbidden Door, All Out, and Full Gear. That's enough. That's enough. And the Battle of the Belts is like their Clash of Champions. That's once in a while. So they don't need any more pay-per-views. And over in the chat room, Reverend Jake Slayer says, too many pay-per-views spoil the pudding. And I agree wholeheartedly. Lance, wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Before I get to you, Lance, I have to agree with you, Joe. My big issue is the money. If I was paying for if they had like a package deal, I would have gotten the package deal. Fight TV offered one, but I can't seem to find it now. I'm guessing that's when Double or Nothing came. But once we got closer in, websites was advertising it. Even Fight TV was advertising it, but it's now no longer God. So, but I think again, the money issue, because the pay-per-views, I have to say, I still love them. They're still great pay-per-view. Lance, over to you.
Well, if they do go month to month pay-per-views, one, they're going to have to cut down the size of the card for one reason. You're taking a 3-month booking period for like 12 to 14 matches. Now, 12 to 14 matches in a 1-month booking, in a 1-month span, over time, there's no way you can keep doing that. Now, and also you're going to blow people out, your talent, by just keep doing that all damn year. Now, another thing, like you said, boss, the money. And now I had heard about the same thing about the packages. It was like what?
$72. Yeah.
Like $72 for all 4 of them?
Yes, together? With the exception of All In.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was still a great deal. If I'd known that, I'd have been shit. I'll have pounced on that. You know, and let me ask this question around the corner. Joe, do you think we're going to see their own live stream for pay-per-views like the old WWE Network?
You know what? At this point in time,
idea.
it would be an excellent idea. You know, might as well pull a WWE, copy that formula, and just say, okay, you know what? Yeah, and you make a little bit more money revenue-wise when you're doing all of these pay-per-views because you are pulling in more money by doing single pay-per-views. But again, your audience is going to be, well, I'm not going to be affording this all the time. That's why WWE doesn't host no more of those pay-per-views like that. They used to do it, you know, and it used to be $50 every buy. Now it's like they put it on the network for $10 a month, your whatever amount. You're you're watching you're watching pay-per-views and other stuff that they can throw on there. So they're looking at it as a subscription base where they're going to make money from subscription, hopefully from subscriptions. You know, so that's where the whole thing weighs on. Do you make money direct by having a pay-per-view on a pay-per-view site and say pay $50 here, or do you go subscription based and hope that you get $50 worth of subscriptions in maybe one household, if that, or more than you hope that out of that subscription base? It makes sense on both sides, but people today are more economically like aware that maybe, you know, I ain't gonna spend $50 here. I'll spend $10 here and watch it. So I think that might be something that AEW might have to look to invest in. If it's a pay-per-view 4 times a month, you know, and okay, yeah, then you know, it's spaced out. People can afford to go and buy a pay-per-view. Now, but every month, no, you're gonna drive your fan base away by doing this.
Yeah, I agree. I think if they had, if AEW took the Ring of Honor club and they did their All Elite club and merged that together, I think it was definitely, even for $20, which I think would be a fair price, is worth it. You know, I mean, especially if you have Ring of Honor fans. They have a Ring of Honor match, which is like every Tuesday or every Thursday. I'm not sure of the date, but I think they had so many opportunities, and I hope that AEW will smarten up and say, all right, it's time to do a network of our own. But moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys. My mic was. According to Wrestling Observer, Brian Pillman was spotted working at the WWE Performance Center. Of course, many of you all know, Pillman was released from AEW last week. Guys.
Oh, and let's just say this. If Brian Pillman Jr., the original, showed up, then we all better run because then it's all zombies everywhere.
Yeah.
Brains.
Well, he's safe. WWE doesn't have any.
Yeah, not yet. All right. Now, Lance, we were talking about this before the show, and you kind of didn't think that Brian Pillman going to wrestling, or as you called it, the E, is not necessarily the first great idea.
Okay, because you know damn well, first thing they're going to do is make him shave that mullet. They're kind of weird about guys with long hair there now. And also, he needs to go somewhere else. Like, I think he needs to go to New Japan and get a little bit more seasoned before he goes to Vince. Because first thing they're going to because they do it to every second gen guy, they're going to try to make him be a carbon copy of his dad. Unless he goes somewhere and makes a distinct name for himself.
Well, you know, I'm not sure if I entirely agree with that. I mean, WWE is huge on second generation wrestlers, but they don't usually carbon copy. With a few, they do. Charlotte Flair, definitely, yes, you could say she's a carbon copy of her father. Dominik Mysterio, Maybe at first when he was a baby face that had that, but I wouldn't call him a carbon copy now. But I think,
Ted Jr.
okay, again, yes, there are few. Those are few and far between. There are carbon copies, but there are also other wrestlers that are nothing like their fathers. Joe, your thoughts? What do you think? If you had a choice, what would you think that Pillman should go to?
You know, I to one extent I do agree with Lance. He needs to go to New Japan, get yourself some season there, build up his body a little bit, tone it to look, because he's almost an identical copy of his dad. You know, maybe put a little edginess, maybe steal a little bit from that loose cannon, you know, but give it his own flavor. And once you got a couple little spots like that, then go to WWE, because first thing they're going to do, no matter how much experience you have, unless he's a superstar, he's going to go straight to NXT, which is again not a bad deal. You go in there, you're performing in a little bit of like an AEW type crowd. You're meeting all the workers, you're building up yourself, and then you move on. It would be an interesting thing. Can you imagine him as that loose cannon character on the WWE TV, and he's confronted by Stone Cold Steve Austin? It's storyline can build right there. Now Austin is not going to wrestle, of course, but it. I think honestly he could get that rub and move up. He just needs to find himself. The Varsity Blonde gimmick was kind of a rip-off of the Varsity Club with Mike Rotundo and Kevin Sullivan and so forth, and the Hollywood Blondes with Austin and Pillman Sr. Now he needs to just figure out what he's going to do. Brian Pillman Jr. today reminds me of Brian Pillman Sr. in the early 90s, mid 90s, when he was in WCW, fresh off the Bengals football team.
Yeah, when he was flying Brian.
Exactly. So I think right now he needs to really kind of develop a character, needs to get that loose cannons, make sure to say, hey, I was been mistreated everywhere. Nobody takes me serious. I'm going to show you this, and build with that and kind of adapt that insanity. Hell, if he teamed with fucking Bray Wyatt under the gimmick, Bray Wyatt could say, hey, I found your father. I'm possessing you. And possess him like Papa Shango.
Oh, God, no. Oh, that was...
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Leave Charles White out of this.
Yeah. You never know with WWE, but yes.
All right, let's move.
Hold up real quick, Rick.
Yep.
If he went full loose cannon, I don't think they would let him do that.
Okay, hold on.
The loose cannon gimmick was one of the more extreme gimmicks in the Attitude Era.
Fair point.
But you know what? It will still. They would do it in a way that I think it would really kind of help him build up again to kind of develop the character, because he can't just go in as Brian Pillman Jr. Yeah. He can't. It's still going to be okay. And I would hate to see him after all this time, him go and be, some other name. That would not work for him. That's a real slap in the face of who he wants to be. It's like Chris Benoit's son. They kind of once smack him around and they didn't even use him. Over on the over on their YouTube page, on the chat room section, Reverend Jake Slater just said NXT might be moving back to the Sail University.
Full Sail University, yep.
Yes.
Well, you know what? We're going to move along to our next topic. Nick Aldis has parted ways with Impact Wrestling, and he's now he's a free agent. PWI Insiders reporting that WWE is very interested in signing the former NWA champion as a producer for the company, not as a wrestler. As of this post, as of right now, it's not clear what Aldis' next move will be. You know what, Lance? I'm going to put that over to you. What do you think Aldis should do next?
I think he's going to keep wrestling. And I also think he needs to go somewhere where he can make a big name or a bigger name for himself. Like, he has that stink of being the last NWA champion before Tyrus.
Yeah. And Joe, now I know you're not really a fan of Impact, even less fan of NWA Power. Um, but Nick Aldis, he's a great wrestler. Unfortunately, he just can't seem to reach that top. And going to WWE producer would pretty much end his career. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yes, right now, you look at the scenario that's going on. The guy still has that. He's still got a mind for the business, and he's still capable of wrestling. So, he needs something more steady. He needs to maybe petition to go to AEW. He needs to do something, or maybe go to Ring of Honor, and do something there. You don't want to go from, okay, you went from the gutter and eating trash in NWA, POW, NWA, Baron Corbin or whatever, Billy Corgan, and now you're going into Impact. What the hell? You just went up from diving in the dumpster to receiving food stamps. Fuck, dude.
Also, if he does go to the E, day one, he needs to say, okay, who put my wife's gear in the trash bag? Come here, I need to have a talk with you.
Oh, you know what? That wouldn't even be a topic.
I don't know. He's very protective of Mickey James.
Yeah, but let's go like this: protective and earning a paycheck are two different things.
Absolutely.
Bygones will be bygones. It's like, well, yeah, okay. Oh, how can you work for a company like that? They put my stuff in the trash bag. Well, if you don't let me go find a real job, we'll be eating out of a trash bag. So. Shut up, woman. Go play Here Comes Country or whatever the fuck you sing.
The funny thing is, despite that, which was a bad call by WWE, I'm sure that even Mickey James would go back for another run if she had the opportunity. So,
if the paycheck was big enough.
Yeah. So,
if a paycheck is better than what she's receiving now, obviously, again, that's where he, if for him to jump from one low bread company that is a shadow, a distinct shadow, a distant shadow of what the old Jim Crockett Promotions used to be, it'll never be anything but a bunch of indie marks paying for a name for something that doesn't exist anymore. It's the belt is meaningless. It doesn't, and nothing goes well with it. So Impact is like that. It's like that one step up in rehab. You just got off the drugs. Now you're going to rehab and realize that rehab is not great. You might as well go someplace else. So, the people at the rehab should have been the ones being the patients, not running the damn thing. So.
I want to take this time to welcome Terry 3G. He's here, but he's still watching a stream shortly. But welcome, Terry. We're glad to always have you here. I'd like to move on to another topic. Apparently, AEW now is banning certain holds, banned moves. This is a quick list. It's unprotected chair shots to the head, shots to the back of the head, buckle bombs and blind moves into the turnbuckle. Fencing responses like feigning concussions or seizures. Also, the biggest one is no spitting, bleeding into the crowd, no weapons or projectiles into the crowd, and of course, they decided that MJF taking a cup of a drink and throwing it to a kid is no longer accepted either. So, Joe, these seems to be pretty fair amount of banned moves, unlike the WWE.
Yeah, and again, it makes sense to me because they are on television. They do have certain clientele that they have to work with. So to me, it makes a lot of sense. I think, honestly, at this point, them trying to ban, certain moves, it makes sense because you are getting hurt. People are getting hurt. People are going in there and they're literally the buckle bomb. Look what happened with Sting. look at other people who've been hurt by certain moves. Now it could happen. It could be something that also could be used in kayfabe, but maybe certain moves will probably become outright banned. But there might be some things that are a little bit kayfabe banned. Like remember, and I'll throw this one at Lance, the pile driver, Lance.
That's how Jerry kept it strong.
So,
Which I think wasn't that one of the banned moves on that list?
In WWE, that's that was a banned
No,
move.
I could have sworn I saw it on this list.
I didn't see it. We're probably looking at two different lists, Lance. So if you find the other list, by all means, help me out. Cause,
it was a few weeks back, so there's no way in hell I could find it. But
yeah,
maybe that's Storm changed her finisher.
Well, no, this report
that
came up.
Fucker's ugly.
Oh yeah, that stunt pile driver or Storm Zero.
She's gonna hurt somebody if she hit doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, apparently, this past Friday when the report came out, most of the roster didn't even have an idea that there's a list that existed. Another report claims that if any wrestler uses these type of moves or these banned moves, they would be fined. So I guess that's food for thought. Lance, do you have any other thoughts on this new banned list of moves?
Well, they say no blading or no bleeding in there. My question is, how's John Moxley going to have a match?
Yeah, John Moxley must just retire now.
And you look at stuff like that, you really can't. Blading, yeah, you don't want anybody, but I can imagine if you bleed by hard way, sometimes it happens, but again, I look at this as a big laugh. Like certain things, you have to get away with, and Moxley just took away everything from him because if he can't explode like Ric Flair used to and bleed fucking buckets, he's not really. He's not worthy, then you laugh and then you say, well, yeah, fuck, but.
Yeah. Okay. A certain type of thing happened in like the early UFCs. It's kind of like this. But here's the thing. The fine was pay at your own time. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah, and I think also when it said bleeding, it's more bleeding into the crowd, not really like, in the ring.
When has he ever had a match where he doesn't go into the crowd bleeding like a sumbitch?
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. Maybe he'll just like fucking pay. I'll pay the fine. Who knows?
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Yeah, exactly.
Wink.
Teddy Hart was arrested earlier this week.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, according to reports, he was pulled over after a high speed chase in his 2022 Mustang. Police found large amounts of marijuana, including burnt marijuana, which suggested he was smoking it, and steroids. Hart has a long rap sheet, including domestic assault and kidnapping. Hart is the nephew of the legendary Bret Hart. Unfortunately, his legacy is in a completely different path. His legacy is a legal rap sheet. He did have some time in the WWE in 1998, but his attitude in the back caused him to be released in 2002. Hart still tried to wrestle around the different promotions, but he continued to be a problem in the back, and his stays were shorter and shorter, and it was just nobody wants him anymore, Joe.
His time is coming past. Honestly, this is a guy who's, you know what? You come from a legendary family. He's the nephew of Bret Hart, and the late Owen Hart. And here, you really had a good opportunity happen, and now he went down the, he goes down the fucking, how should I say, he falls further down the pole than anything else. He's like, he never seems to get it. And when I see guys like this who have everything going for them, they have their wrestling careers, they can do other things in wrestling, they can train people. He obviously can do independence, and obviously that didn't go well because this is where he's probably at. You know, his career has so fallen down that it's now laughable. And so, what can you do with the guy? He's a mess. He needs to, he's not going to go to rehab or anything like that. He's going to look at it as, well, okay, well, fuck. What? And I'm surprised that they actually arrested him on having marijuana. Like, shit.
It wasn't just marijuana. It was large amounts of marijuana. It was also
Okay.
burnt marijuana and steroids, which was suggesting that he had possession to distribute both.
Well, you know what? At this point right now, it's God. He's fucked. He needs to actually start getting looked to clean. He's going to be in the next. Yeah, Terry actually said that. Actually, wasn't he in an episode of Dark Side of the Ring? I don't know. I don't remember that.
If not, he should be.
Yeah, he should be, because that's where he's going to end up. So what can you do, Rick? This guy has, he has a good family background. I'm not saying that, hell, they're great, but it's a legendary family. And here's something funny. You hear all these stories, and out of everyone right now who's second generation, look, you got Ted DiBiase Jr. and his father making counterfeit money. You got this with the Hearts. The only ones right now are getting there, and they're not really even wrestling full time. Is Kevin Von Erich's sons. They don't wrestle full time, but they're the only ones who are clean right now. At least they've been avoiding jail time and if any reporting. So they're actually now, to say after the Von Erichs all died off except for one, at least Kevin is raising his kids the best possible way. I don't understand why these guys do this. It's so they're in a position that so many people would love to be in. They get there, they have their time, they have their fame, and then they fuck it up. Damn.
Well, Road Jake Slayer says that he has not hit the rock bottom yet. It's different for everyone. Hopefully his bottom won't be fatal. And you know what? I have to agree with you, but I also think that is not a bridge that's burnt. That's a bridge that he demolished. It's no longer there. There is no more bridge, unfortunately, for Teddy Hart. Lance,
I'm sorry, real quick, Lance. He says hopefully his bottom won't be fatal. Well, if he's put in a jail cell named Bubba, I'm going to tell you his bottom is going to be sore.
Lance, over to you.
Okay, third, I was watching during the Attitude Era. I don't remember seeing Teddy in the WWF personally, but I mean, this dude's been he keeps just fucking up after fucking up after fucking up. I mean, and there's a reason he gave himself the name The Black Heart.
Wait a minute, wasn't that Owen's Hart nickname too?
The damn family.
That was.
He was part. Here's the thing, though. He was part of the new Hart Foundation with Natalia and Davey Boy Smith Jr. So they were there. It's just
okay. But refresh my memory. Am I wrong? Was Owen Hart first called the Black Heart?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so all right, so because I heard that, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, I'm like, that sounds familiar. So, all right,
I thought it was Tyson Kidd in the new Hart Foundation.
No, I don't know. Like I said, this guy is not even rememberable. But
I'll tell you one thing I do remember. He fell off the top of a cage and hit the floor of a civic center at an indie show.
Somehow that doesn't shock me, but this guy, I think his career of fuck-ups is probably somewhere around Tammy Sitch, but he's getting up there if he keeps on going,
I think Tammy strives to be Eddie.
All right, let's move along. Tonight on Dynamite, we're going to have Blood and Guts. That's going to be our main event, and that's going to be during the featuring the Golden Elite, which is Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Nick and Matt Jackson, and Adam Page. And that will be taking on, of course, the long-heated feud against the Blackpool Club, which is Claudio Castagnoli, John Moxley, Wheeler Yuta, the Bastard Pack, and Kenoshi Takeshita. So
God bless you.
This, honestly, guys, I've always loved this. If nobody's ever seen Blood and Guts, it's pretty much War Games. If you've never seen War Games, you're not a fucking wrestling fan.
Hell
no. Now, guys, to me, I'd have to pick. I think I'd like to see the Elite finally get this over, so the Blackpool Combat Club will be in the rear view, and they can all go their own way. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Lance?
Okay. Tradition says the Blackpool's going to win because 9 times out of damn 10, the heel faction wins War Games. But with AEW, they kind of tend more toward babyface winning this. So I'm going with the Golden Elite.
All right, Joe, over to you. Your pick.
I'm going to have to say the Golden Elite as well. It's a high time that I'm surprised they haven't won this back yet, because let's face it, the Elite don't usually allow other people to go over for so long. Now it's an opportunity for them to say, okay, yeah, we're going over. Now we're going to go over. So I could just see this being just that. They're going to let other people just go over. And, this time, no. The Golden Elite's going to say, no, we need to have this. Yeah, we're going to win.
And we've got a few comments in there. And Terry3G says it's all on DOSTR. That's practice. He's practiced there. Okay, no, they're talking about something else. Apparently,
they're talking about Teddy Hart.
Oh, Teddy Hart. Okay, it was an older comment. Anyways, let's get on to the next match, and that's going to be the tag team eliminator tag team tournament. MJF and Adam Cole, who's been a very odd couple to say the least, against the Jericho Appreciation Society's Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia. Now, the story goes that Sammy and Daniel have been at odds for the past few weeks despite getting wins, while MJF and Cole, who couldn't stand each other, are getting closer to each other. So if I had to pick, I think I see MJF and Cole at least winning the tournament. Getting a titles, that's another question. Joe, over to you. Your thoughts.
Say that again.
Were you even listening?
I was listening, but then I got zoned out because I'm thinking, what the fuck? The what?
The Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament.
Okay.
You didn't know about this?
I knew about it, but I didn't know who was in the finals.
Yes, the finals is Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia versus MJF and Adam Cole.
Oh, God. This is why I wasn't paying attention. The way I see this happening is I could see MJF and Adam Cole getting like the real upper comments on both, the Garcia and Guerrero, but I could see Cole turning on MJF just to get that title shot, the world title shot, and letting Guerrero finally win a title. So I think him and Garcia are gonna hold they'll hold it for short. They'll be transition champions, but I could see this as being the time where Cole is just gonna make his moves, turn against MJF, let MJF get pinned, and go from there. So
first off, this is only a tournament. Whoever wins this will get a shot at the tag team title. So they're not there yet. This is not for a championship. This is just for a blind eliminator.
Yeah, okay. So then it would be Cole and MJF getting that win. So yeah, I could see it again. Still play that same storyline. Then when they get to challenge for the titles, the tag titles, boom! It gets the sudden explosion happens, and it goes on a different direction. Plus, I don't think Guevara is going to stand around too much knowing that his wife is, you know, she's getting there, she's getting bigger, and he's probably want to be more supportive of her. So, honestly, I think at this point in time, uh, I don't think he's really into the whole, I don't know, into the whole winning a title, especially with Daniel Garcia. Come on now.
Yeah, I agree. Lance, over to you. Your picks.
I think it's going to be now. The title shot is going to be in London, correct?
I believe so. They haven't officially announced it, but I'm guessing that's what they're heading towards.
Well, okay. I'm with Joe on this one, where MJF and Adam Cole are going to win this, go to London, and that's going to be one of the holy shit moments of the London show where they just fucking explode.
All right. And Terry3G said, thoughts, pregnant Tay, hot. Enough said. Who cares about the match?
That pretty much sums it up.
That's a true wrestling fan, huh?
You
But
know
hey,
what?
we all have our
It's like-
opinion.
you know what? It's like this too. You know, when you see a hot valet or somebody has like a hot wife, wrestler has a hot wife, and she's in the business. If she's at ringside, I would say 70-30% of the time, you're watching the girl at ringside than watching what's going on, even though the two guys in the ring could be sensational. You know, it's like the old Baby Doll from the NWA. Whenever she was around, everybody was like, oh, yeah, I'm watching Baby Doll. Or, whoa, I'm watching the lovely Elizabeth. You know, or women, Nancy Benoit, you know, they stole that thing. So you kind of like, yeah, jabronis, go ahead, keep tossing and flipping in the ring. I'm watching this ass wiggle.
And you know what? I had to say it that Ty Conti definitely has or Ty Mello, forgive me, has a sweet ass.
Hell yeah.
All right, moving on to the another match. Hook will be defending his FTW championship against Jack Perry. A couple of weeks ago, Jack Perry turned on Hook, which didn't really make any sense to me. But to really, honestly, I see this as a coin flip. This could be a good or bad thing for Hook. Either Hook gets the win and he keeps the FTW championship, which to me I've said is like a relevant championship, or Perry can actually get the win. He can get his singles titles that he's been wanting, and Hook can move on to bigger things, such as possibly the TNT championship. Lance, over to you. Your thoughts.
Well, okay. I think I know how to say this without say this correctly. Jack Perry needs a kayfabe injury to fully repackage himself. Because this halfway between getting about no. He needs the repackage and then start winning the belts.
All right, and you know we have talked about in the past about Jack Perry how we'd like to see him gain some more weight, and that because he has so much potential. But I still think right now, just getting his hands on one title would probably at least give him some kind of like a momentum push. Joe, your thoughts?
You know, I agree with Lance. He needs to like take that time out. He needs to like go away, really put on some weight. He screams, and I hate to say this, it's nothing personal, but he screams indie wrestler. I mean, severe indie wrestler. And, you know, he needs to go back and put on 50 pounds of muscle. He needs to build that body of his, come back meaner and build more build. Like, take me serious now. You know, I'm not the simple jungle boy. He could be the Hollywood Jack Perry, you know, following his father's footsteps. You know, he needs something different. And unfortunately, you know, battling Little Mac here with the play belt doesn't mean anything. You said like, oh, give him his first title win. That's an irrelevant title. FTW title was something that Taz came up during the ECW years because they didn't want to give him the ECW title. I heard the full story. They didn't want to give him that belt right away, so he created his own, and it took off from there. He needs to kind of step back, let Little Mac win that, keep his championship so he can feel important, maybe get a haircut afterwards, and feel important about himself, because every time I see Hook in the ring, I laugh my ass off because it's like the Nintendo Punch-Out character come to life. I'm waiting for Bald Bull and Super Macho Man to come and punch the shit out of him with Doc patting him on the shoulder. No, that title's meaningless. I want to see Jungle Jack Perry come back without the jungle part. I want to see him come back more powerful, more stronger. Go in there and beat the shit out of Orange Cassidy for the international title. Then he will have his first true AEW championship. Because even though he had a tag team title, we're talking about singles belts here. He needs a legitimate singles titles push.
Yeah, and I agree. Over in the chat room, Terry3G said, bad. Jack Perry wins the title that has absolutely no value, which is what we all been saying. So, yeah, absolutely, and that's just the case. And it's a shame because these are both great wrestlers, both Perry and Hook. I'm a fan of both of them, but I don't want to see them as a tag team, obviously. And now with this feud going on, one's going to get pushed up and one's going to get pushed down. That's usually how feuds like this happens. So,
Ask Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels and see how well that goes for you.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants.
Wait a minute. Here you go. Already cutting us off, Lance. We still got a few minutes.
All right.
Let's do the famous unveil. Obviously around, everybody knows Little Miss Bliss is expecting, So let's go with it. She did what is it? A gender reveal party. They actually do these things today.
Gender reveal party.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised in this day and age.
Gee, does that mean I'm supposed to get her something?
No. But I wonder where Nyla Rose fits into that gender reveal party.
Hang on. Now I can say
here we go.
Joe at SkullsRoom.com.
I have to throw this in there. This is why we're going with this. Like, come now. You got to have a gender to fucking have a reveal party. But thankfully, that thing will never get pregnant. If it does, fine. Let the elephant fuck the rhinoceros. So anyway,
Jesus.
It's at least you look at Charlotte Flair. Somebody's getting it in the ass, and Andrade knows it because he says "ay ay ay." That's why he screams that. Anyway, back to Little Miss Bliss. Congratulations to her. Lance, what was the result?
Girl. And it should have been mine, damn it.
So, gee, that means we're going to see a Little Miss Bliss Jr. in WWE in about another 20 years?
Yeah, we'll see a Little Miss Bliss or Little Itty Bitty Bliss. And the way her mom looks, it wouldn't be surprised if the child comes out even just as good.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's something funny. Has anybody actually seen the Bella's kid? The one that they had with Daniel Bryan, whichever Bella fucking it is.
It's Brie Bella and She's They've had two, if I'm not mistaken, Lance.
Okay.
Yeah, Bird was on,
what a fucking name. What's the name of the other kid? Parrot?
I don't know.
They can name the fucking kid Cat, so they can get Cat and Bird.
Their daughter was on Total Bellas with them.
Okay, well, I never watched it, so. But, nevertheless, I'm truly happy for Alexa Bliss, and of course, no matter how we slam the Bellas, I'm sure Brie Bella is an excellent parent, despite the poor choice of names.
Well, when you name your child after an animal, I
think Bird is a nickname. They didn't give her real name on TV.
Oh well,
that's probably something that they just throw in like cuddles or some shit like that. But fuck, Bird. What the fuck? Like Terry 3G says, the other kid's name is Carrot. Fuck. Or maybe the kid's name is Larry, so it's Larry Bird, the basketball player. What the fuck, people? I don't understand today's society, especially with Nia Rose being part of this shit. By the way, since we bring that up, Vicky Guerrero is finally going home, or she was home. So
is she retiring, or is she gonna head back to WWE? Or
well, no, right now the thing is she's done. Her AEW contract is done. It's over with. Miss Excuse Me is going home, and she claims that there's other projects in the works. But remember, Vicky Guerrero had also this issues, this controversy going on with her daughter, stating certain things about her, and so.
Oh, yeah, that was a bunch of bullshit that happened, I think, right before the summer.
Yeah, so since that issue happened, though, Vicky's been off of television probably dealing with this. So here is the situation now. It's, she's probably now done, and Vicky's going to meet Jesus. No, she won't meet Seth Rollins at all. Rollins is over at WWE. So, unless she's going to scream at him like, excuse me. But yeah, I think this is one of the things. She's just stepping back and letting this controversy phase out, because soon, if you guys notice, when prior to this, she was active on television. She was active in the Dark and Elevation, and occasionally she was on
Dynamite.
TNT. Yeah, Dynamite. She wasn't the fucking greatest manager, didn't have the greatest stable.
Yeah, I think she was just pretty much there just for the whole, all right, I need the extra cash.
The name value.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the name value.
So
she's probably going home to scream at someone.
Yeah. One last topic. Britt Baker was in a recent interview. She pretty much talked about Thunder Rosa, where she said in short, I don't like her, but I consider her as a professional, and I'll work with her as a professional. Lance, what do you take with that?
Well, that's a story as old as the wrestling business its damn self. Yeah, they don't like each other, but they make money together, a lot of money together. So what's in the back's in the back, but you protect your opponent and you burn the damn house down in the ring.
All right, fair enough. Joe, over to you.
Thunder has said the same damn thing.
All right. Joe, your thoughts?
Well, I'm reading something Terry 3G posted up before I put my answer in. He says, Bree developed son Buddy Dessert or on August 1st.
Oh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That's what I say. Fuck. Okay. Now I forgot the fucking topic.
The question I was talking about.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, with the backstage stuff. We've all seen Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. That story has been retold many times. How Bret hated Shawn and Shawn hates Bret. But they work, if they had to, they work together. It's right now. I think Thunder Rosa is really the only reason she's been this departed from AEW for right now is because of all the heat she had in the locker room. I think that's why you see her and Britt Baker and a couple of the others really don't like her personally. But if she had to come back, I'm sure professionally they'll do their match in the ring, and then afterwards they'll probably kick her out of the locker room because they won't want nothing to do with her. It's again, like Lance just said, it's a tale as old as time. Follow the song. What's this buddy's name after Daniel's late grandfather? Joni Loves Chachi. I remember that show with Aaron Gray, Aaron Morgan, and Scott Bale.
Yeah.
Anyway, shows you how old I am.
Yeah, no shit. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. But anyways, we are going to wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I'd like to thank, of course, Terry 3G and Reverend Jake Slater for hanging out with us. If you want more of HWR, you can always head over to our Facebook page. That's Wrestling Rants in the groups section. We're also on Twitter under the name HWR Show. So please get on over there and support us and help us, and find out what's going on more with Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am a hardcore host, Rick Head, and I'm thankful for everybody. Joe, you're over at Skull Realms.
Yes, I am. I just do the hashtag Scolders Realm. I am on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick now. I am also on Twitter at Skuldrin, and I am on Instagram at Skuldrin's Realms. You can also go to skuldrinsrealm.live or .com. I have stuff there. You can see the different blogs I have up. I do games from yesterday, today, from PC to console. You guys can check it out. I am working on my now editing for Skuldrin's Paranormal Realm, so that's another thing that's going to be coming up soon. And I'm gonna get in touch with Andy so I can have his direct input on it. But yes, you could check me out. I'm gonna try tonight to do another retro game, or I might just play Dead by Daylight. I don't know yet, but definitely check me out. One more thing from Terry 3G. He says, that Adrian Adonis Dark Side of the Ring episode was awesome but sad. Yes, I did see that, and I gotta say, Rick, as a fan of the old school wrestling, Adrian Adonis was so innovative, and then he gained the weight. They punished him with the gay gimmick. Then he finally started losing the weight. He was back in shape for this situation to happen where he passes away in Canada. And now you guys could see Dark Side of the Ring now with Abdullah the Butcher. So,
Lance, you're over at Lance Moss TV. What you got going on over there?
Well, right now it's just every Tuesday night we go live with Lance Moss TV and friends. It's at 7:05 Central, 8:05 Eastern, wherever else it is. You do the math. And I'm also on Twitter. I don't post that much, but if you want to message me or something, it's at Lance Moss TV.
All right. And with that, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying, we'll see you when we see you.
Buy the shirt.
And if you do want to buy this shirt, go to skulldrinsrealm.live, hit that merch button. You'll see all our shirts there. Woo! Micro machines.